Ukhoza kume edeka mkhathini usesiphe. The reason I got drawn to the story of Isandlwana, I remember when I was at primary in the 90s. We visited Isandlwana. I was a goalkeeper, and then when we got there, I heard the tour guide saying, hey, the Battle of Isandlwana was led by Khoza. I was like, what? Then when I began to listen to the elders at home, they began to narrate about this man who was between the ages of 74 and 76, who was a Khoza and who was a general commander. They say when he led the battle, he was leading over 20,000 regiments. Imagine there is a place called Ulundi 19, and then there is a place called Wamtashana, more like a kilometer apart. But they could still hear him when he was saying, so I felt like it's a spiritual journey for me to tell the story of Isandlwana. It's more closer to me because the leader or the general commander of the battle at the battlefield was Khoza. You know when they talk about Louis XVI, we used to say "L'état c'est moi" in France. That was the history of France, and the reason why today their kids they are proud of that history is because it was properly told. But our histories have been documented by the people who have already, maybe literate, and those literate people are the ones we're fighting with, and they got to write our history. But my thing is not to say our kids must look back and develop hatred, but our kids need to look back and develop new ideas on how to fight again with education, arts, and other things. My take on the preservation of the heritage and culture, or tangible or intangible heritage, is that the idea behind that, it's always about, it's as if our kids needs to go back, only to find that we need to maybe claim, or heritage and culture will help us to claim the spiritual treasures of those who came before us. So now, if we are safeguarding our history and culture, it should be for the reasons of moving forward, not backwardness. We should look at the Battle of Isandlwana, look at the Battle of Val with Mshweshwe and the British, and say what methods were used, what tactics were used, what strategy was used. Now, educationally, if you look at the academia, how can we address the education system using the very same techniques now, but as an ideology, not going back to the battlefield? So yes, the importance of safeguarding our history is that history comes in as an intervention to record events. Later, these events, they give birth to certain cultures, to certain way of living. But evolution comes. You can't wear animal skins like before. You can't live and speak the way people used to speak. We safeguard it and say it's inheritance. This is why on Heritage Day, we use certain things. But come to the issue of tradition. What is a tradition? It is the handing over of former knowledge to the next people or to the next generation. This is why in Latin or Greek they say transcedere, to hand over. But when we talk about someone who's a traditionalist, this is like someone who has come with so many animal skins and garments and say, yeah, but a tradition is as simple as handing over. What is it that we have handed over to our kids? So now, if you want to promote our culture, we need to go back and say, when did an Singuni or African intellectual calculus begin? What are our basic assumptions when it comes to our culture? And then we will use social media perfectly, as in promotion of the language, promotion of the culture, promotion of our morality, promotion of inhlalakahle, meaning there's no women abuse. But all we see today, we see the wrong side of who we are. I think the role of the culture in today's lives should be understood. I think the most important tool across our cultures to safeguard our history so that our kids can be able to speak these languages again. We need to investigate the music called amahubo. Ukuhuba, not to be confused with the Psalms, is ihlabelelo. David wayehlabelela. Ukuhuba is associated with the documentation of the family history. If they are moving from Central Africa, they get tired and they see the sun maybe dropping and they say, Siya kushona kuleso ndaba. And then healing again is always stirred from singing this kind of music, amahubo. Amahubo are important for also safeguarding the prayers of the family, meaning they say in Latin, urak qui cantante. He who sings is having a double prayer, lyrics and melody and the vibrations inwardly. So now, our forefathers, when they were moving, let's say from Eqwaqa or Khoza, they were speaking isiSuthu. And they move and they got to what you call Enqutu, but it was called Esinqutu Senkos. Now what happened? They sat there, they looked at where they come from, and the name of the mountain was called Esipes. You know what they said? They said, Khoza mkhathini usesiphes. They would even cry when they are singing this. And then Ushaka again at the national level now, because you see, Ihuba at the family stage, it safeguards where they come from. Khoza, Isan, Gumede, where are they? They're at Mountain Isiphes. Now, if you go to the national stage, in 1816 up to 1828, King Shaka was a brilliant singer again. When he would go maybe to the Zulu Hut, Msamo, he would speak and say, the regiments are in the crowd. We are praying that today they are not conquered at the battlefield. He would come out and go to the crowd and say, today we are attacking Soshangan. And they would say, bring them, bayete, bayete. When I went off, and then King Shaka immediately he would say, Undaba ngazidlizwe lonke inkomo zamadoda. Ngahla siphake khethana magwala. So this music is very important because at the Battle of Isandlwana, as they were singing, the Zulu regiments led by Nchingwayo, they were like, you know what they said? The English said. They were like, oh my goodness, maybe they are happy as they are singing. Let's join them. They started their song called the Halech song. Man of Halech, stop your dreaming. Can't you see their spears come streaming? See the warriors. You know, it was a beautiful, even though it was a fatalistic moment. But all I'm saying is, if every nation, like Besotho, Banalimi, Khorotlo, if they were to go and safeguard all of this, I think each time we meet and we know what we are and who we are, a light will perceive the light. The Isandlwana lecture kicks off on the 22nd of January, this coming Wednesday. And then we end on Sunday, 22 to 26, except Saturday. But 22, 23, 24, 26 January, here at Joburg Theatre, we'll be bringing the walls down.